So, can you just start off by saying your name and the date that you were born?
Yes, I'm June Trask, and I was born on the 9th of April, 1944. I was an only child, so I was really anxious to get away from home. When I was teaching, I would take my summers. Sometimes I would just take off and go somewhere for a while. I found a group. It was called Teacher Swap. Another teacher and their family you could exchange houses. I had some people who wanted to do that. So I went down and we kept in correspondence over the years. And then one year in, I think it was 97, I got there and she said, a friend of mine that I teach with, I've invited him for dinner. And it was Ken. The following weekend, we met at Oxford and told each other our life stories, and we got married in 98. Yeah, didn't take long. After our honeymoon, we moved to my house in California, and then his mom died. We thought, well, we'll come back for a little bit.
What kept you in England?
Part of it was grief and shock at losing Ken. It's just a huge, huge shift in your life. There's so much pressure, I think, on everybody, but during the 70s and 80s, I think there was a lot on women. You had all these things that you needed to be and do, and the older I got, the more I forgot about those things and just listened to me.
About 10 years ago, I weighed a lot more than I do. I'd been raising my girls at home for about 10 years and I hadn't worked and I'd kind of neglected myself. I lost a lot of weight to try and get back in shape and feel better about myself. And then I wondered how on earth I was going to keep this weight off. And I looked in the garage and I saw my bike that had been badly neglected for a long time. I realised my passion and how much I enjoyed being on the bike, the freedom that when you get on a bike you leave everything else behind and you just have to worry about getting from A to B and staying warm and dry and safe. I hope to think that I'm in one of the most difficult phases of life because I have moved out of being young, attractive and sexy and become older, wiser and just as much fun, I hope. I didn't expect to be where I am. I'm divorced. I don't have financial security. What I've built so far wasn't what I intended to build. But actually, I think we have less control over our lives than we realise we do. We'd like to think that we're in charge and we're making plans, all the rest of it. But actually, the only two things that really matter in the day are good weather and good health, and I have no say whatsoever over either of those. That's the big thing that I've learned over time.
So I am 44, and there's no getting around it. Sometimes I do feel quite old. This many years in, I have picked up a great many aches and pains. Sometimes there's a thought of how it would be to be young again, but that would mean being dumb again. And I don't regret doing the dumb things I've done because it's made me who I am now. And right here, right now, I'm very pleased to be who I am. A long while back, I struggled. I struggled with my mental illness and I struggled just trying to deal with day-to-day life. Basically, I made the decision to try and work on me. I made a big commitment to looking after myself through means of counselling, finding good friends and trusting them with opening up. Men are not taught how to open up. I think the thing I would like most in my life is a partner. Lots of my friends have kids and their families of their own, but I'm not lacking in family. If I can give my time to family and friends, and I could probably look back on that when I am probably old and be happy with that.
For work, I am a musician. I've been doing that for 8 years now, going full-time music, not having to do another job on the side to support it. That's a good milestone, I think. In the next couple of years, I want to have some sort of management, just someone that supported the music and saw the vision and saw what I want to achieve with it. Not from a financial point of view, but from a, how can we make something that is seminal and matters to people? As a teenager, I always thought that money was a very symbolically happy thing. I used to think that by 30 you'd need a good house and you'd need to be married. But I think I've 100% left that behind now and just gone, it doesn't matter, I love what I do. And as a goal, keep playing, slug away every day, and it'll come to something, it will, regardless of how many times I get knocked down. I will just keep going because it's what I do. It's what I'm good at. Life is complicated and relentless and unforgiving sometimes, but I've learned recently to take every single win, find joy in every little thing. And I think that's an important way to live, because if I don't live by that, then I'm just sat on a chair every day going, God, what am I doing?
The big thing in the last year is having my top surgery done. So it's been 5 months since that happened now. It was like a big thing that I've been looking forward to since I was maybe like 11, 12. That's sort of when I started to come to realizations about my gender. And all the way through school, I had like a little part-time Saturday job and I was just putting aside, it was only about £100 a week, but just putting that aside and then starting to work full-time and just seeing my savings sort of slowly grow. Granted, it was devastating to then watch £10,000 just disappear like that, but it was such a big goal for me and something that was so important for me to be able to live my life, basically. I knew I couldn't go to uni and have like the proper experience if I wasn't comfortable in my body and I didn't feel happy in myself. I transitioned socially very young. I was the first trans kid in my school. In fact, I was the first like openly LGBT kid in my school. Most of the kids in my school had only ever met people exactly like them. So for them, meeting someone who was even slightly different, they couldn't wrap their head around it, and none of them really knew how to react to me. As a young kid, I never thought I'd really make it past 18. I was very worried about my own mental health and my survival and stuff like that. So every day I'm kind of shocked that I got to this point. I'm almost 3 years on testosterone, had top surgery, I'm living with my girlfriend. I never thought I'd get to a point where things seemed like they were going okay. I mean, I'm trying to think ahead about what I want to do next, and that is like the big question at the moment. Having had so much time off school, I kind of realised the path that I was on, which was to go do medicine, wasn't really what I wanted to do after all, and kind of made me realise that all these things that I thought I'd wanted to work towards was just sort of like the pressures from my school, the pressures from my family sort of pushing me down this route that I never really wanted to go down. I try to only really think about the present, because you can't change what's already happened and you have no control over what's going to happen. So if you just focus on now, you can maybe make what happens in the future a bit more in the direction you wanted it to be.
So my name's Ali, and I'm 25 weeks into my 40-week pregnancy. We know that it's going to be a girl, and we've decided that we think we're going to call her Maya, although we'll have to wait to meet her, I think, to totally confirm that. But yeah, we're thinking of Maya. I know a lot of people don't want to have children because of the state of the climate. I haven't wanted to think about it that much because it's not a comfortable thing to engage with, but I do feel like I still want to hope that things can get better. I really hope she feels a lot of self-love and compassion and acceptance towards herself and finds something that brings her joy and has a rich life in whatever form that takes.